Hey guys, how you doing? This is KJ with the scariest movie ever made and riggedreality.com. This is a message that I've held off for a really long time on sharing with other people. Some of my closest friends know about these experiences, but I was kind of motivated last night. I was watching a video on YouTube here from Papa Pos 123 PAPAPOS 123, and he revealed the same experience. So I was like, wow. So I figured this might be a good time to go ahead and make this video and put it out there. And just know what I'm about to tell you is pretty wild stuff, but it's very real. And like I said, I've been experiencing it now it's been just over a year and a half. But what it is that I see the numbers 111 everywhere, and I mean everywhere. And I'm not looking for it, and it happens constantly. And it's been pretty consistent over the last year and a half or so. And I even had a huge experience with it last summer, and I'll tell you what that was. I'd been in the process of moving to a new state. I went back to my home state. I went to a wedding of a friend of mine, parked my car pretty close to the wedding, went inside, saw a bunch of old friends. Afterwards, hung out with those guys. We all went out and hung out and did our thing. And the next day, my best friend drove me back to get my car, and it was gone. Someone had stolen it. Now, I told him all about this 111 stuff. He's one of my friends that knew about this stuff that had been happening to me. And, he just rolled with it like anything else, with me. I mean, I've had these kind of experiences, not just the 111, but other things for a really long time. So the weird part about that is, man, is that where my car was parked, the exact spot, it was facing a number on a doorway, and of course that address in that building was 111. My car showed back up 3 weeks later. The police found it. It was half a mile away, and it had more gas in it than when it was stolen. So I don't know what it all means. I still don't know why it was taken, but I know that the 111 had something to do with it. Even so, to add to that, the next day, I was at my friend's house and I was making calls, talking to the police, talking to family, just trying to figure out all this stuff. And I set the phone down at one moment at his house, and when I reached back to pick it up, it was on top of a bill. And when I looked down at the bill, of course, the amount was 111. And my friend tripped out on that one too. So again, guys, this has been going on for a really long time. I see it everywhere. It's all over the place. I've done a little digging into it to try to figure out what it means. I've seen a bunch of different explanations, but the way I've always felt it. The reason I always feel that it's happening is I see it as God just kind of saying, "Hey, what's up?" Just kind of saying hi. And that's the way I see it to this day. I still see it constantly, and when I do, I just kind of give a nod and say, "Hey, what's going on?" So yeah, I'm putting the video out, and I'm putting this message out because I'd like to hear from you guys down in the comments section if you've had similar experiences, and what do you think it means? And I hope we'll keep it clean. A lot of my videos get some really gnarly, nasty, profane messages, and I just block and delete those pretty quick. So this message isn't for everybody. It's some pretty deep stuff. It's God stuff, and God stuff ain't for everybody. But for those of you who have the eyes to see, so to speak, and the ears to hear, I hope you can give me some guidance in this, and I'd love to hear your stories as well. And let me go ahead and let me extend that a little bit too. It's not just the 111 stuff that's been going on in my life. I've also noticed that things manifest themselves really quickly around me. Another example is last summer I went to the lake, and I grew up in the country, but I've lived most of my adult life around oceans. So I'm not used to being in lakes anymore. And I was walking around out in the water, and I remember thinking, no, it's kind of gross. You don't know what's under your feet out there in those lakes. It felt kind of squishy and nasty and gnarly, and you got fish coming up on you and stuff. And I just remember thinking I could really use some shoes. I need some like water shoes, something I can walk around out here in the water with. So I turn around, I go back up onto the beach, and lo and behold, about 30 feet away from where I was set up, there's a pair of shoes sitting there, perfectly. I go over there, I slip my feet in, and guys, I'm telling you, they fit me absolutely perfectly. They're like those Dex shoes, those leather shoes, and I still have them. I put them in my trunk, and I take them with me when I go to the lake. So That's just another example. Some might say it's the laws of attraction. You've probably heard about that stuff, about being able to manifest things you want immediately. See, I think that those properties are real. I think that science really exists, but I see it more metaphysical, and I see it more of like God kind of answering your prayers almost immediately sometimes. It's kind of bizarre, I know, but I don't take credit for it. That's the world I live in, and it's what I'm trying to show other people. I get a lot of people message me about these things. I put up some pretty wild videos, I know. Some people want to know why. What am I doing? Well, I'll tell you, I'm not religious. I don't go to church. I don't trust the TV preachers. I don't trust most churches. I think that a lot of them are blind, and there's really are a lot of sheep in there. I'm glad they exist, but it's just not for me. I've never been much of a joiner, to be honest with you. But I do know God, and I know Jesus, and I have some really powerful experiences that I don't even share with most people. I really keep most of it close to my chest, because if I was to tell people in polite company about some of the things that happen to me, they're going to think I'm bonkers, most likely. But anyway, my point of telling you all that, guys, is that I know my role. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'll give you an idea of what that is. I made this movie, the scariest movie ever made, a couple years ago. It's not just the name of my YouTube channel. It really is a movie. It's free. You can watch it on riggedreality.com for free. That's my website. And I made it because of my awakening I was having. I kind of had a breakthrough, and I started to see the truth as far as the Illuminati goes, as far as the devil working in our world goes, and all that stuff. So I told some friends a while back, just before I made it, I said, friends of mine who aren't believers, I was like, look, I can't prove to you there's a God, perhaps, but maybe I can prove to you there's a devil. And that's kind of the whole reason I made the movie, and that's kind of what I'm still doing to this day, is I'm revealing things. I'm revealing the devil in our world today. I know my role. I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm no preacher. I'm not good with that. I don't know my Bible back and forth. I'm a sinner too, just like the rest of us. But I know my role. I know what I'm supposed to be doing, and that's what I'm doing now. Trying to reveal these things in the way that I'm being led, and that's the way I see it. Even there, I feel awkward talking about it. I just don't feel. I've never been very evangelical, so to speak. Okay. But anyway, for those of you who kind of get what I'm doing, I really appreciate it. I even made a post today on the YouTube channel, or the main channel for YouTube, as a big thanks to all of you. I hit over 1 million views. And I think that's awesome. It's not because I'm a view queen or anything like that. I'm just happy that people are seeing this stuff, that they're seeing what I'm trying to show you. And, I'm not right all the time. I can be wrong at times as well. I really seek guidance for that, and I really try to bring you guys some of the most interesting things I can find. And, things that will reveal how quickly the veil's lifting and reality's shifting and changing. And, very exciting times, guys. We're living in some very exciting times.